Before the arenas, before the awards.
This is b4Nashville Live. Have a question for our guest?
Send it to us via Messenger.
Here's your host, George Davis.
And welcome back to Before Nashville, where we introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. And I've got a young lady joining me tonight. She is from North Carolina, Beulahville, North Carolina, to be exact. And she was young, of course, when she found out that country music was going to be her first love, and she knew that she wanted to be in the music industry. And we'll talk to her about all that coming up here in just a bit, so stick around.
Before Nashville is proudly sponsored by Go-Go Tuners, the go-to tuner for professional and amateur musicians. Get your Go-Go Tuner at gogotuners.com. By Heart to Heart Coffee, the coffee that gives back. Find out more at heart2heartcoffee.com. By Sibby's Apparel, worn by heroes, made with respect. Order yours at sibby'sapparel.com. And by Three Rangers Whiskey, not for the weak or faint-hearted. ThreeRangers.com.
And here we are in it Before Nashville. We've kind of looks like a little bit of an issue, so bear with me just a second. We'll get that taken care of, and apparently it is my fault. So we will take care of that real quick, and then we will have our guest on for tonight. It's one of those things where, you just, golly, you get so wrapped up doing stuff and it just seems like nothing goes right, no matter how hard you try. But we're going to get it worked out. So how's everybody doing tonight? Hope y'all are doing well. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Hank over at Hank's Corner. He had Sarah Harrelson on tonight. And I unfortunately missed it because I had this show tonight. I was going to try to catch that, but they had a debut of her new single, which is really awesome. I love whenever they can do that kind of stuff. And whenever you get the opportunity to share a new song with those that are watching. And yes, I'm trying to kill time, so just bear with me. So don't want anybody to take off just yet. Heard a great dad joke the other day. A young man complained to his dad, "Hey, Dad, I'm cold." And so his dad tells him to go stand in the corner. And the kid says, "Why do I need to stand in the corner?" Dad says, "Because the corner's 90 degrees. But yeah, right. So anyway, that's that's that failed attempt at humor. And we've got a lot going on. We've got several guests throughout this month and even into next month, getting into the month of November as far as booking goes. So we're going to have a lot of great artists on for you. Twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays right here on Before Nashville. So just stick with us. And hey, I've got some great folks lined up. You're going to be really impressed. Got a whole slew of them. So we'll find out what we can get done here and see if we can't. Let me send her back a message real quick so that she knows that I sent the link. I thought I sent it. I really did. So we'll get her on here in just a minute. We've been excited to have her on. So I've been super excited about it and really looking forward to talking to her and finding out more and sharing some things about her because there's some really cool stuff that's gone on in her life over the last about the last year or so. So we'll talk to her about that. If you have an artist that you want to see on Before Nashville, an up and coming artist that maybe you like, but you don't hear them on the radio, just shoot me an email, b4Nashville, the letter B, the number 4 Nashville @gmail.com. And I'll check them out and vet them. And then we'll see about trying to get them on. Like I said, we're booking up into November now. Won't be long till it's December. And then probably around Christmas and New Year's, we'll take some time off just to kind of regroup and get our thoughts back on track because the New Year's bring in a lot of new opportunities, not only for the show, but also for myself personally. And I want to make sure that we get all those. So, all right. Well, our guest again, like I said, she is from North Carolina. She is very she's loved music since a young age, and so we're going to talk to her right now. Let's bring her on. It's Tarrah. Tarrah, how are you? Okay, I'm not getting you on the microphone. Still can't hear you. Gotta love technology. It's such a wonderful thing. It just shows your mic is muted for some reason. I don't know why that is. No, it's still there. Let me look here and see. I just muted my own. Let's see here. I can't click on it. Let's see. Okay.
Sorry.
There you go.
I'm so sorry. I am the most
That's,
technology challenged person in the world.
that's all right. I don't know what you did, but it's working now, so we're good to go.
Okay. Wait, let me see if this mic is gonna work. Might be a little bit better.
Nope, don't have anything on that one. Still don't have anything. I lost you again.
All
There
right.
you are. There we go.
Oh my goodness.
That's okay. Hey, it happens. It's happened to me several times. So I'm so glad to have you on tonight. Thanks for coming on and joining me.
Thank you so much for asking me. This is so fun. Thank you.
Yeah, I've already talked a little bit about where you were from. I want to find out more about growing up in Beulahville, North Carolina. What was that
Yeah.
like?
There wasn't much to it. Yeah, I mean, that's where my mom grew up, so it's kind of like one of those really small towns. Everybody knows everybody. So I mean, it was nice in that respect, and I was always like this girl that sang, the singer girl. But I
Mhm.
was really quiet, so like people knew me, they knew I sang, but that was about it.
Didn't it weren't very much of an extrovert other than when on stage. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, not until like college or after college really, but so I guess people probably never would have thought that I would have come out here and been doing the thing, but here I am.
Right. How old were you when you started and you were still just kind of shy beside behind the mic?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't shy when I was a little kid, and I was singing like in like pageants and at church and stuff like that when I was like 5, 6, but all through like middle school, high school, I mean, I was I was singing any chance I could, but I was like, yeah, that was whenever I guess I was letting myself out.
Kind of branching out and opening up. So, as you're going through like the early school years and into high school and stuff and starting to sing more, was that kind of a shock to those that knew you?
Well, everybody, like I said, everybody knew that that was like I was a singer, and people there were like, yeah, like you're gonna be big time one day, like whatever. But in a small town, you're just like a big fish in a little pond, right? So I always had this like idea. I didn't really know much about the music industry. I just knew that I liked to sing, and it seemed like people liked it when I sang. So I was like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna be a singer. And then as I got older, I was like, that's not really how that works. So then I was like, well, maybe I should do something a little different.
Right. So that's when you went on to college and had hopes and dreams of one day becoming a veterinarian. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. When I was a little kid, I was like, I'm gonna be a singer and a vet, and I never saw anything wrong with that. I was like, I'm gonna do both those things, 'cause why not? But yeah, I was, going off to college. I really wanted to just move here, but my parents were like, no, like, gotta go to college, gotta get the education. So I got into NC State and their animal science program, and I was like, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I liked it, I did, but I don't know. I was like, it's hard and it's a lot of school, and I knew I'd have to put the music thing aside if I was gonna do that. So
Right.
yeah.
And that you were not willing to do.
No, no, yeah. I mean, I was just kind of like, I'll go to vet school and graduate at 26 or whatever, and then what? Like, just do that for the rest of my life? I was like, nah, like, I think I want to do this while I have the chance, while I'm young and while I can try.
Right. Right. And This just came to my mind. Did you have a quarter that said heads Carolina, tails Nashville?
No, but in my mind, I guess that was kind of like where I was for a little while. But it was always Nashville. Like I don't know why. Like even in college, whenever I was pursuing the animal science, the vet school thing, I should have known I was gonna end up doing this because I was always looking for ways to get here. I was like, oh, like
Mhm.
maybe I can go to vet school in Tennessee, and like, but I was too scared to just do it. And then one day, I guess I stopped being so scared.
Right. Who were some of the influences that kind of pointed you I mean, just having this strong desire to be a country music artist in Nashville?
Like musical influences or like my
Yeah,
personal.
your musical
Um,
influence.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, like my parents, they listened to just country, whatever was on country radio. So I listened to a lot of like Keith Urban, Brad Paisley, Martina McBride, people like that. But again, I didn't know anything about. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, like someone just discovered them and they're famous, which I guess is kind of how it used to work. But I would say like Taylor Swift was obviously every young girl would probably say that, but she was the first one that I was like, okay, like she writes her songs too, like that's really cool, and she's young and she's singing about what she wants to sing about, and maybe I can do that too, and so I
Mhm.
guess I was like in like middle school or something, listening to her and thinking, okay, like maybe I could do that.
Do you remember the first song you ever wrote?
The first song I ever wrote, I was like 5 or 6, and it was like not really a song, you know.
Uh-huh.
But like the first like legitimate song, I mean, I was probably like 11, 12. I don't remember what it was. Probably about some boy that I had a crush on, but was too scared to talk to in the hallway or something.
Isn't that always the way it goes, though?
That's the way it goes. Yeah.
So you've been in Nashville since August of 2021. You've been there a little over a
Yeah.
year now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like flown by, but it also like it seems like it was just yesterday, but it also feels like I've been here a while, you know.
Right. What I know from what you've said, it sounds like Beulahville's kind of a small community, and then you get into Nashville, which is very far from a small community. What kind of adjustments did you have to make moving to Nashville?
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's where I went to school.
Mm.
So I lived there about 6 years actually. So and it was like smaller than Nashville, but there wasn't this kind of community. So I actually feel like the transition here was a lot easier than I thought it would be, just because although it's a bigger city than I had ever lived in, like everyone is so friendly for the most part and really
Mhm.
welcoming, and there's so many like-minded people. So you just embrace other people what they're doing, they'll embrace you back, and so that's been really great.
Right. While you were in Raleigh, did you do the music thing? I mean, were you playing gigs around Raleigh much?
I mean, I was here and there. When I was in college, like when I was still in school, I was writing songs in my dorm room, but and singing, like and auditioning for The Voice and like whatever. So people knew that I sang. I was in choir and that kind of stuff, but I I was not performing much other than like the occasional at church or like if someone I knew just asked me to sing somewhere. But towards
Mhm.
the latter half of school, I started seeking out some gigs, going to open mics in the area, and trying to get my feet wet with that. So then when I
Right.
graduated, I was living in Raleigh for a couple years, and once things started to clear up after the pandemic, I was performing there all the time.
What was the music scene like in Raleigh for you personally? I mean, was there a lot of country music, a lot of opportunities for you to play?
There were quite a few open mics in the area and venues for sure. The music scene's interesting there. It's like really indie, so it wasn't country at all. I didn't have any co-writers. I was just writing by myself or with
Mhm.
people over Zoom that I had met at different workshops and stuff. Um, but I mean, it was a good experience. It was good for me to like see like different people were just doing their thing no matter what level they were at. And I was like, well, cool. If they're doing it, like I should be doing it too.
Right. So when you get into Nashville, who was the first person that you did a co-write with while you were in Nashville?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I had made trips here before I made the move. So I had met a few people, but only one or two of them were already based in Nashville. So I kind of like messaged them like, "Hey, I'm moving there. Let's get coffee." But then I just would go to writers' rounds, like everybody says to do,
Mhm.
and meet people and be like, let's get coffee, let's be friends, and then eventually we'd write together. So yeah, I don't know if I remember who the first person was, but one of my friends that I met early on, I guess.
Are there any of those writers that you've really come to enjoy writing with, those artists and songwriters that you're in the writers rounds with? Say, you've done 3 or 4 or 5 writes or something like that, and you just feel like you guys click so good?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was talking with someone about this today. I think it's it's a long process to find your camp, as they say here. Find
Mhm.
your circle of like who you write the best with. Sometimes like you might be friends with somebody, but you guys have different styles, so maybe you don't write together as often. So and of course when you get here, you're just trying to write with whoever because you're just trying to get experience and get your foot in the door. So I think I'm starting now in the past few months to see like, okay, well, this person is somebody that I want to really continue writing with. Like we get good songs together, and I think it's also like thinking about, well, I might get good artist songs with this person, like for me, but then with someone else, I might be able to write a really commercial song that we could pitch to someone else potentially. So
Right.
yeah, I think it's like kind of learning as you go.
Okay. Now, with the writing and the things like that, I mean, you were talking about, I mean, you've been in Nashville since 2021. And so 2020, you were kind of still in North Carolina and probably going back and forth because of the pandemic at that time. So I mean, even in 2021, did you do a lot of Zoom rights, or has a lot of it been like person, in person rights, or what's been the majority of I guess, the setup of how you've written since you've been
Yeah,
there?
yeah, definitely before moving here, it was all I had only co-written on Zoom before I moved to Nashville, and I had only done it a few times. But when I came here, it's mostly in person now since I've been here. Um, just cause I don't know, it feels more natural and it's like fun to just like hang out with the person and talk about what's going on, and it just feels more organic that way. But I write on
Mhm.
Zoom still quite a bit because I have some writer friends in like Canada and other states and stuff that I love writing with, and so we'll hop on Zoom a couple times a month, and it's fun. Yeah.
Right. Now uh, you've got a couple of songs out that you've already worked on, and um, hang on, I had those pulled up. Wouldn't you know it? Don't tell me. Let me get out of this. I was looking at your message, and that's why I'm off of it here.
Oh,
So you got what I'm missing and tabs on you, and I on the way in to work this morning, I was listening to those songs, and then you got a new one. Sorry, you got a new one coming out that we're going to play here in just a bit for folks. Actually, the exciting thing is going to be it releases tomorrow, so this will be heard before it releases, and so that's pretty exciting.
yeah, yeah. This worked out so great for that reason. So yeah, thank you and thanks for sharing it with people.
Oh, absolutely. So, just on the 2 that you got that are on Spotify right now, What I'm Missing and Tabs on You, give me a little bit of backstory about What I'm Missing.
Um, well, I mean, I knew I wanted to put some music out, and kind of like in 2020 before I moved to Nashville, I was seeing this guy. That's how it always starts, right? I was seeing this
Mhm.
guy, and I met him, and it was going really well. So of course I fall in love and everything, and I'm like, but I'm moving to Nashville, and he was moving across the country. So I was like, great, like I finally meet somebody that showed me all these things I had always been wanting to find in someone, like been missing, I guess you could say. And then it just wasn't right. But so I was like,
Right.
how am I'm gonna compare this to everything else now. Like this is my new standard of like what I want and what I'm looking for kind of thing. So that's where that came from. Just a good old heartbreak song about
Right.
crying on your best friend's pillow. So that was that one. And Tabs on You is more fun, more like the sassy. I feel like a lot of my songs are either or one of those two, like really emotional or really sassy, which are
Right.
kind of my two personalities. So that makes sense. But Tabs on You is just I had like the hook idea. Like I was in another write actually, and we were talking about like a bartender, like someone going out and a bartender and like the significant other being jealous or something. And I was like, oh, like he wants to keep tabs on her. And I was like, it's like a pun because bar tabs. And they
Right.
didn't really want to use it for that song, but I wrote it down and then I had gone through like a breakup with this dude who was kind of a lot. So I kind of pulled that hook back in. I was like, I'm gonna write this sassy song about this, and yeah, that's how that came about.
Wow. You take a lot of your writing, I mean, and that's the way most of it is because it comes from personal experience, and what that does, it transfers over into those that are listening because you never know who's going to be having, if not the same experience, something similar.
Right.
And so when you take it from your own experience, and that's pretty cool. Now, just about 6 months after you moved to Nashville, you entered a contest, and it's the Nashville Songwriters Association International (NSAI), and I know a little bit about them. But you entered a contest. It's a songwriting contest, and they put this. I think it's like an annual thing that they do every year that they do this, and you actually won that contest out of like 2,500 people. I think it was.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really crazy. NSAI, first of all, is really great. I honestly credit them for like me having the courage to do this and move to Nashville because when I was still in college and I was like, I really want to do this thing, but I don't know if I'm good enough.
Uh-huh.
I had heard about that they did like these songwriting camps. I was like, well, maybe I should go to one of these camps, and like then they'll tell me if I suck or not. And if they tell me I suck, I don't know, like just go to vet school, forget about this. And then if they tell me that I don't, I'll I'll keep at it. So I came here in 2019 for that, and that was my first exposure to them. And they were just like so encouraging, and that just really turned things around for me. I was like, okay, wow, like I left that camp being like, I'm gonna do this, like I'm gonna make this happen for myself. And so then I moved here 2 years later, or yeah, 2 years later, and I had these two songs that I had put out. So I was like, well, I put these out, so I obviously like them. I'll enter them in this contest, and then Tabs on You won the contest. I still don't know how that happened, but it's been pretty cool.
What was the first thought that you had when you got notified that you had won?
So they notified us first that there was like a top 10 that they had selected. They got it down to, and then they live streamed the judging for the top 10. So I found out like live that I won, and my parents were actually in town, and I was in the studio that day recording
Mhm.
some new stuff. And I remember joking around with my producer, and I was like, "Yeah, it'd be really cool if I won this, and I could pay for my new songs and stuff because there's like money and everything that you get." And so I
Right.
watched it live with my parents, and I was just in shock. Like I was like, "What? No, like they didn't say my name. Like that's not, I don't win anything." And my mom was just like crying. So it was really special.
That's great that your parents were there. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah,
awesome. The timing was just right for them to be there and you to win that.
right. It was like divine intervention or something.
Right, exactly. And so you went on and that put you in a position where you were able to record that song, some new songs, as well as kind of making connections in the industry and getting to know certain people around there. I mean, um, what on that side of it with the connections, what kind of connections were you able to glean from that particular event in your life?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's been really cool in a lot of ways, like from like the smallest thing being like just other writers seeing it or hearing about it, or like when they look me up, seeing that, like having that credibility, I guess, helps when I'm trying to meet other writers, and so they can take me seriously, and then with other people in the industry, like I would just kind of run into people sometimes. And like one night I ran into an industry person, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember your song from the contest, and we should meet up." And then like CMT sponsors the contest, so I've gotten to meet with them and the team over there, and they've been really nice and helpful. And NSAI connects me now with like some publishers and things like that, which is obviously to help me get towards my goal, which is to be a signed writer and artist at some point. So it's
Right.
just been really informative and really cool for me to be able to have those opportunities so quickly being here.
Right. And out of the two, a singer or a songwriter, what would you say is the thing that you enjoy doing the most?
The thing I enjoy doing the most is singing. I mean, I just feel the most happy when I'm singing. But if I had to choose to like do one or the other professionally, I would say songwriting, because I mean, I can still sing, like even if it's not um for anyone.
Right.
But if I don't have a deal at some point, like no one is essentially going to hear my songs, and I love like sharing your heart and sharing it with other people and having that affect someone. Like that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. So
Right. Right. If if you could collab with one person, who would that be?
with one person, oh gosh, I mean,
I don't make it easy.
I honestly, I always tell people Keith Urban is like probably one of my favorite artists and biggest influences growing up.
Mhm.
And I think he's an incredible performer. So, I mean, to collaborate with him in some kind of way would be like a dream. That would be really cool.
Very personable guy too. I will add that in. Um, Now you being a songwriter, what is the one song that you've heard that you've just thought to yourself, why could I have not written that song?
It happens a lot, as all songwriters say that, where I'm out with my friend, like, oh, we hear it at a writer's round or something. Like, oh, why did we think of that? But some of my favorites, like, I don't know why I love Old Dominion. They're one of my favorite groups. I think they're great songwriters, those guys. And one of my favorites is Written in the Sand by them.
Yep.
I think that's like such a clever hook, and the vibe of the song is so cool. It's just like an easy listen for anyone. I'm like, why
Right.
can I not think of something so simple yet so clever at the same time?
Right. Absolutely. We do have the opportunity to have our guests chime in once in a while and ask questions, and I always encourage them to do so. And Jeff has asked a question: if you wrote a song about yourself, what would the title be?
Oh, I I have a couple of these actually in the works. I'm trying to write this song right now called Dramatic, because I'm very dramatic, and people tend to think of that as a bad thing, but I don't think it's a bad thing to be dramatic. I think it's good.
Right.
So yeah, probably something like that.
That's actually really good. I mean, and the short titles, I have to say this, with the attention span of America right now, a one-word title is probably the best thing you can do,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Gotta
because they'll
grab 'em.
remember that. Yeah, you got to get them. You got to get them. So tomorrow, what time? What time is the new song coming out?
Yeah, it's midnight Eastern tonight, so 11 Central Time and
Yeah.
so on. But yeah, so it's really soon.
So here in about 2.5 hours, you're going to be able to download this song or, put it in your playlist, preferably download it. I mean, go ahead and spend the 99 cents or $1.99, whatever it costs. Don't be a cheapskate. Don't be like me and beg all these artists to send me their songs so I don't have to pay for it.
Oh my goodness.
That's really not why I do that, but
Just a perk of the job.
right. It's just a perk. But the new single, we're going to talk about it. We're going to take a quick 30-second break. We're going to come back and play it for folks, and then we'll talk about it some, and we'll get into some more questions and some, some a little bit maybe off the wall, things like that. But we might put you on the spot in a place or two. So we're just take a real quick break here, and we'll be right back with Tarrah's new single, and we'll tell you what it is in 30 seconds.
b4Nashville is proudly sponsored by Go-Go Tuners, the go-to tuner for professional and amateur musicians. Get your Go-Go Tuner at gogotuners.com. By Heart to Heart Coffee, the coffee that gives back. Find out more at heart2heartcoffee.com. By Civvy's Apparel, worn by heroes, made with respect. Order yours at civviesapparel.com. And by Three Rangers Whiskey, not for the weak or faint-hearted. ThreeRangers.com.
Introducing the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. Here's a b4Nashville world premiere.
Your kiss tastes like it's made to be on my lips. Your hands feel like they've been searching through my skin. I love the way you sing along to every song and get me laughing on the phone. I can't find nothing wrong with it, but every time we say goodnight, I'm afraid it might be the end. Cause I guess I'm just used to it, always being disappointed. Every good thing ends up ruined, so I don't get my hopes up when somebody seems different. And I like where things are going. No, I'm not scared of commitment. Just what'll happen if I lose it. So I don't wanna get used to it, used to it, used to it. I don't wanna get used to it, used to it, used to it. Don't wanna get too comfortable in your arms, so that they can battle rap on someone else one day won't be so hard. Wish I could let go of all my inhibitions, stop resisting what I'm feeling and just listen to my heart. Don't wanna push your love away right from the start, but I guess I'm just used to it, always being disappointed. Every good thing ends up ruined, so I don't get my hopes up when somebody seems different. And I like where things are going. No, I'm not scared of commitment. Just what'll happen if I lose it. So I don't wanna get used to it, used to it, used to it. I don't wanna get used to it, used to it, used to it. Not being lonely on a Friday night. The way they get hold me, baby, I'm so tired. You're trying your best to take care of me, and I'm trying my best to prepare for you to leave. Cause I guess I'm just used to it, always being disappointed. Every good thing ends up ruined, so I don't get my hopes up when somebody seems different. And I like where things are going. No, I'm not scared of commitment. Just what'll happen if I lose it. So I don't wanna get used to it, used to it, used to it. I don't wanna get used to it, used to it. Baby, I could get used to it.
Got that big grand finish right there at the end. That's a great song, and you've got a very smooth and just a very soothing type of voice.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that.
Well, you're welcome. Um, Tell us about the song. I mean, obviously, it's another one of those songs about your life
Yep.
and an event in your life. So share that with us just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the concept, I got the idea for the song actually just talking to one of my best friends like over a year ago now. But and sometimes that's how I get my inspiration. Just I hear someone say something and I'm like, that's a song. But I was with one of my best friends. She had been seeing this guy. She was just feeling scared, feeling scared of getting hurt. And she was asking me like, why am I feeling like this? And I was like, well, that's just what you're used to. You're used to getting hurt, so you don't want to get used to this new person and how great it is right now. I was like, yeah, I gotta write a song about that. And obviously, like I've been through that myself. Like it's scary to be vulnerable, open yourself up to new relationships. But I thought like there's you know there's obviously other songs like this, but I was like, I just want to kind of be vulnerable and give my take on what that's like, and not wanting to get too comfortable with the person because you're scared you're gonna lose them.
Right. I think that's very interesting the way you worded that. You said there are other songs like this, but there's a uniqueness about every song.
Mm.
I think even though songs may be kind of a similar storyline, there's always something unique about them. And with that being said, what about your music is so unique that you feel like people are drawn to it?
Yeah, well, I think it's like what you were just saying. I mean, there's good music that is not hard to find, especially coming from Nashville.
Mhm.
But I think people respond to authenticity and vulnerability, and you attract what you are. And so I think hopefully, if I'm just nothing but myself and I'm not trying to be anything else, then hopefully that attracts people who identify with me, and just as it would for any other artist that's being themselves. I think if you're trying to be something that you're not, then that's where
Right.
you go wrong. And that sounds really cliche, but I think that's true.
Right. And I apologize. I wasn't looking at my watch for the time. I was making sure I didn't have a text.
No, 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 you're so good.
I did that and I thought, well, that was just downright freaking rude.
No, that's the world we live in. Everything is on our arms, our phones, or like whatever.
Yeah, it's either on our phone or on our wrist or in our back pocket, one or the
Yeah.
other, at least as far as guys go. So if you could go on tour with two bands, kind of like you're the opener and then you've got the mid, and then the headliner, what two bands would you absolutely love to be on tour with?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I mentioned earlier that I love Keith Urban, so like
Mhm.
opening for him would be like I would be like, okay, I can die happily now. And I mentioned Old Dominion too. Like I think they're just so great, and it'd be really fun to kind of be on tour with them. Maybe right in the tour bus with them or something. That'd be so cool.
They put on a great show. I mean, they are so fun. Keith does too. I mean, both of them put on a great show. I got the opportunity to see Keith Urban in Nashville in February, and it was just him and the guitar.
It's amazing.
Amazing. That's all I can say. Amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll,
I've seen him live. Like he's one of my favorite concerts I've ever been to, for sure.
I will have to send you that video that I took from that because it will blow you away. The guy is just he is like Mr. Musical. That's all I can say. Just absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, I said we're going to get into some possibly odd questions for just a second. So we're going to do that. Okay. Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right.
What the hell? What the hell? The hell? The hell? What the hell? What the hell?
Yeah, this is a segment I call What the Hell. And it's more for me than for you. Let's start off with getting prepped for a show. What takes you longer?
Like the longest part is picking out what I'm gonna wear. Yeah.
Okay.
I change my outfit. I change my clothes like 10 times every day. It's ridiculous. I don't know.
Now, you one of these that waits until like 45 minutes before you have to leave to start picking out your clothes, and it would take you an hour and a half to get it figured out?
Yeah, yes, I'm so guilty. I'm like the worst. I'm always late. It's something I'm working on. But yeah, your mom always told you as a kid, like, pick out your clothes the night before. No. I'm like, what am I feeling today? And it always backfires. So
Right. And then you have Nashville traffic to contend with, which is never fun.
oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. Let me see here. So if I make an assumption on this, and I probably shouldn't. Okay. When I titled this, I thought about this. I really shouldn't do that. But if I were to open your playlist, I call this the iPhone top 10, but not everybody has an iPhone. I'm not an iPhone person. I just know a lot of people in Nashville carry iPhones. But if I were to open your playlist, what are the top 10 artists that I'm going to find on your playlist? Or who are the top 10 artists?
Okay, well, definitely Taylor Swift, Morgan Wallen. I really like Ashley Cook. She's like newer, but I love her. I also really love pop. Like I listen to a lot of pop, like Charlie Puth, Ariana Grande. Yeah, I listen to a big variety, but that's not 10.
Right,
really
that's like 5. You're halfway there.
Okay, I really like the band Camino. I love them. John Mayer. Keith Urban. I've said him like 3 times in this podcast.
Right.
Kelsey Ballerini is like, yeah, she's goals. So I listen to her a lot, and I really like Maddie and Tay. Like a lot of their new stuff, I've been listening to a lot. So it's probably them. Is that 10?
That's 10. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the
And I
first
have
10
to
that
say,
I thought of.
it made my heart feel good when you said Maddie and Tay, because I love those 2 girls. I've known them for a few years. I love them. They are the biggest sweethearts.
They seem like it, and like they're really great songwriters. Like I don't know, and they have those voices that are just really easy to listen to too. So
right. And with that being said, is who do you think is, in your opinion, okay, I'm going to say it this way, but I'm going to ask it where it sounds like it's really broad. Who's the most under recognized artist in Nashville beside yourself?
There's a lot. I mean, I have like a lot of friends in town that I would say like deserve to be, recognized. But if you're asking for someone who's like maybe like on the brink of it, or someone that like most people probably don't know.
Yeah, I just, whoever you think needs to have more recognition anywhere in that spectrum.
Okay, well, honestly, I'm a big fan of there's a few girls who I followed in Nashville before I moved here that I've kind of like taken some inspiration from. And that would be like Ashley Cook is who I named before, but she just got signed, but she's so awesome.
Right.
Morgan Johnston, Lexi Hayden, like all these girls are just killing it. But then I have some friends like Justin Love. He was one of my first friends in Nashville. He's been here for like 10 years, and people should give him more attention. He's awesome. And there's a band called Big 50.
Hmm.
That I don't know how many people have heard of them, but they're like Midland. They're incredible, the sweetest people. Yeah, and then like pretty much all of my friends, I think, deserve success. So
Right, right. Okay. So what I'm going to do, because I'll tell you, sometimes some of these will strike me and I like to look them up if I don't follow them. I try to follow, I mean, on Instagram, people probably think I'm some kind of weird freak, um, because I follow so many folks, but it's all like new artists. And I like
yeah,
to reach out to them and ask them, like I did you, to come on the show. So I'm always listening to what people tell me, and I'll write that down so that, so that I have it. Um, in your shows, what is the one cover song that you do that you just love to do in every show? It's like
um,
you.
I love to do the sassy ones. I feel like especially in Nashville, all the bachelorette parties and everything, they get really into it. So something like Gunpowder and Lead, just like so
Mhm.
fun. I mean, because obviously it's like getting into character. Like you're talking about how you're gonna go home and murder this guy. So it's like it's really fun to just like play that part for like 3 minutes
Right.
and get
Now, do you
people.
think that's a good idea during a bachelorette party, though?
I don't know. These girls act like they love it. So like I don't know.
Right,
Hopefully the bride is not gonna listen too hard, but
right, right. And Miranda's one of my favorites. I mean, and one song I gotta say, and this is just I'm interviewing me for a split second here. One song that I have never heard anybody do as a cover that is one of my favorite Miranda songs, just for the energy of it, is Little Red Wagon.
yeah. A lot of people say that. Like a lot of people like will request that.
Uh-huh.
But I know for me and some other people have said the same thing. I do not like singing that song. Like it's fun to listen to for sure, but I don't like singing it because it's like the way that she's like talking slash singing. It's kind of hard to perfect that, and it's like I don't.
Right.
It's a cool thing when she does it. I don't want to like do it wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
It is really good though. I mean, it's one of those fun songs. I've never heard, like I said, I've never heard anybody do it before. Um, if there was one artist that has passed away that you could have dinner with and a conversation, who is the artist and what's the first question you would ask them?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, the obvious choice right now would be Loretta Lynn.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, bless her, man.
yeah,
I was so floored the other day when I read that.
yeah, me too, honestly. I didn't grow up like my parents listened to literally only what was on the radio. So I didn't grow up listening to like this really classic country. But obviously as I've gotten older, I've listened to more people like that and I know that she is just one of the pioneers for women in the industry. So that would be amazing to just like get to sit down and have a conversation with her and be like, how did you have the tenacity and just the like determination to just be yourself and do your thing whenever there weren't all these examples for you like there are now.
Right. Right. I mean, she was absolutely a trendsetter for women in country music. And she was actually controversial, and a lot of people don't know that, but she was pretty controversial in her music. Um, some of the stuff, even today, I mean, if you wrote a song akin to some of the stuff that she had, um, back in the day, oh my gosh, you people would want to burn you at the stake. I got to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, that's what's so crazy that she did that and wasn't like afraid to do it. But I
Yeah.
always hear people say like the controversial artists are the best ones because you either people really love them or they really hate them, but it's like at least they're talking about them, you know?
Right. Absolutely. That's a very good point too. So here's one of those really off the wall questions. Um, describe your personality as one of the following people. Okay. Jim Carrey, Mariah Carey or the now Ye West, the the freak formerly known as Kanye West?
I mean, I'd probably say Mariah Carey. That's the safest choice there. But no, I mean, I don't know much about her personally, but she seems like she's a diva, and I can be a diva. I mean, I like the finer things in life, so I'd probably say Mariah Carey.
I love your honesty. That is so good.
I mean, can't blame a girl. A material girl. That's all I can say.
That's a Madonna thing there, right?
Right.
Oh, what song stuck in your head right now, or has been stuck in your head? Say today.
Oh my gosh. Actually, it's so random. Earlier, what is that band? Four Non Blondes. That
Yeah,
song, "What's Up."
yeah.
Someone sent me a Snapchat earlier, and that song was playing in their car, and I have not been able to get out of my head since then. And that's the most like random thing, but I mean, it's really catchy.
That's why the question's there. It's like, but it is. You're right. It's catchy. It's kind of like I don't even want to say it because then those will be stuck in both
Yes,
our heads, and we'll never get them out.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
there's one song I cannot stand to hear. It's like, can we just erase that from all? Um. So here's I'm gonna get a little personal with this one. Okay.
All right.
Have you ever struggled with self doubt about your music career?
I mean, yeah, definitely. If anybody says that they haven't, I think they're lying. Um, I mean, obviously, I doubted myself as far as if I was like good enough to really pursue this as a career, which is why I didn't until just a couple years ago. But now, being in Nashville, it's fun and it's great, but it is intimidating being around so many talented people, and it's easy to compare yourself to like what other people are doing, and oh, I should be doing that, and you just have to talk yourself out of it, but it's not easy.
Right. Is it worth it?
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. It's worth it for sure because it's like that Luke Combs song. Like I'd still
Mhm.
be doing this if I wasn't doing this. Like I would still be singing and writing songs like in my free time if I was doing something else. So, but to be able to try to pursue it as a career like is obviously way better. So, if I'm going to do it anyways, I might as well get over the fear because there's fear no matter what you do in life. There's risks involved. So, might as well do what you really want to do.
Right. Um, so back to the question I asked you earlier about the two bands. This is kind of connected to that, and I probably need to rearrange my questions so they flow a little bit better. But you've got bus call at 6:30 in the morning, and you've got to pack. All right. What are the essentials that you have to pack
Oh
for
my
bus
gosh.
call?
Well, first of all, 6:30. 6:30 is early. So I'm bringing a pillow. I'm bringing my Tempur-Pedic pillow so that I can like take a good nap on the bus. Um,
Free
and
plug there
then
for Tempur-Pedic, by the way.
yes, I swear by it. Um, I mean, a journal, like every songwriter would probably say that, but I'm a very, we write a lot on the computers and stuff now, but I love to just get my thoughts out, like brain dump on paper. It doesn't matter what it is, like I have to write it down. So I definitely pen and paper and my dog. Like I'm bringing my dog. That's all I need.
You have to see if Keith will let you take the dog on his bus.
Yeah, yeah.
That might be a little issue. I don't know, but anyway. Um, do you like big crowds or do you like smaller crowds? What's the perfect crowd to play in front of for you?
Typically, I say the bigger the better because I mean, like, it's less nerve-wracking when you're in, like, a smaller venue and you see everyone's eyes on you, you can get in your head a little bit more,
Hmm.
but when it's a big place, it's like you're not thinking about that as much, and yeah, I would probably say bigger crowd is better, but I guess if it's something like for writers rounds and stuff like that, I mean, those smaller venues, that's a really cool thing when it's like an intimate people are actually listening to what you're singing, like that's you don't want too many people in there. You want
Right.
just it to be intimate, so
Um, Sometimes this question comes across as a little premature. It depends on the artist. But if not if I'm on the wrong, let me go back down one here. Um, which of your songs do you want to be most remembered by?
um I don't think I've written that song yet. I'm gonna say that, but
Mhm.
I gotta hope that I have like really great songs ahead of me. But to date, I would say probably this song called Cali that I'm gonna put out here in a few months. But it's really personal and vulnerable, um, and I think there's it's a heartbreak song, but there's like to me writing it was like therapeutic, and I did not write it with the intention of sharing it with anyone. But I think that underneath the personal story there is an element of accepting when things don't go the way you want them to, and accepting when things aren't meant for you. And I think that that's something that a lot of people can identify with, and so I'm really proud of that song.
Right. And you brought up a really good point, and that kind of directed me to a question that just popped into my mind because, um, you said you didn't write it with the intention of putting it out. Have you have you found yourself to where sometimes you have to do that? You have to write a song, but it's just for you. It's like it's healing for you personally, but it's for nobody else.
I think to me, like a lot of times those end up being the best songs, and I've heard people say that, but I think it's true. Sometimes if you're not thinking about, oh, like this needs to be more commercial, this needs to,
Mhm.
you know, like then you're not thinking as hard. You're just letting out the truth, and sometimes you look back and you're like, well, actually, that's pretty cool. Like maybe someone else can relate to it. So I think that that's I don't know. It's cool to just write something that just let yourself give yourself the freedom to just write whatever you want to write and not worry about if it's what people want to hear or not.
Right. And again, you said something that got my mind stirring because you said, something about commercial. Do you feel like too many people focus on the commerciality, if that's a word? I mean, it work in Scrabble, I'm sure. But the commerciality of a song, and they don't
Um,
think that it's touching somebody, it's like, oh, I got to write this I have to write it this way for radio. They don't think about, this song could touch 10 people in the audience if I ever sang it on stage.
yeah, I think for me, I don't know about for other people, but for me, I think that there's more than one element to that. Like I think the content of what you're writing about, you shouldn't think about if it's commercial or not because that changes. It's what you were saying about Loretta Lynn, like things that were taboo to maybe talk about or sing about at one point aren't anymore, or like you have somebody has to be the first person to do that. So I think
Right.
you should just write about whatever you want to write about. But I think as far as like there's a way to do it. There's the verse chorus bridge chorus kind of thing, like especially with country music there's like a formula, and I think that formula has been so successful for a reason for so long. So I think it's important to make sure that it has those commercial elements that are necessary, like that it's got this catchy catchy melody and
Hmm.
and sections that make sense. But I don't think people should worry about if what they're saying is commercial or not.
Right. Why do you feel like that formula has worked so well in Nashville?
I mean, I think it's just easy for people to digest. Like I think if a chorus, like a catchy chorus, is just people want to sing it. People want to sing along to it, and um, whenever they listen to the radio, they're gonna be singing along to it. Then they want to go and sing along to it at the shows. So I think that works. And then like having verses and everything, it just sets up the story nicely. And since country is a lot of storytelling, I think that's why that works.
Have Have you ever thought about maybe being a little bit of a rebel and going against that in a song that you write?
Yeah,
Maybe get
yeah. I mean, I definitely hear right. Yeah, I definitely hear songs from time to time that don't that do things a little bit differently, and I've written a couple like that too. But I think the important thing is they still like have memorable sections and do tell the story effectively instead of just like dragging on and not changing and people are like what are they talking about? She's just singing in circles.
right, right. Um, there's so many questions out of that I have for you, but I really don't want to get into them because it's going to be one of those. I feel like it's almost a kind of a debate type of thing. Maybe that's something I need to have two artists on and let them talk about that amongst
Oh, that'd be
themselves.
so cool.
But I mean, you gave me a very good idea. So, I mean, who knows? I might have to do that sometime. What time of the day do you feel most creative?
I mean, it depends. I'm like I feel like middle of the day maybe because I'm not an early riser. So I kind of like to get up, just have a slow morning, like sip my coffee, journal or read or like take the dog out, whatever. And then like mid morning or so, I'm like, all right, now all the juices are flowing. Now I can let something out, like write about something or whatever. So probably like mid morning to midday.
Um, if you could go back in time and talk to your, let's say, let's say when you're a senior, you're getting ready to graduate high school, you're about to go into college, so 18, and some people graduate early, I know, so I'm just going to say 18. If you could go back to your 18-year-old self and give yourself a piece of advice that you have found out up to this point in your life, what would that advice be?
It would just it would probably be that people take you seriously when you take yourself seriously. And people believe like if you believe in yourself, like then other people believe, not the other way around. Like don't wait for someone to give you a yes or tell you like this is what you should or shouldn't do. Just follow your heart and other people will be drawn to you.
Okay. That's really good. I like that. Um, if say somebody that's watching and they want to find out more about you, what is the best direction for them to take to find out more about Tara?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to stay active on the social medias. I'm trying to get better at it,
Mhm.
all the time. But I am on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook as of right now. And you can search me. It's just my name, Tara, Tarrah. It's right down there, I guess. But all my social media handles are Tarrah.music. And you can find me on Spotify and all the other streaming services too.
Okay. Um, any big shows coming up that you want to share with people?
Oh man, not really. I feel like I just had some exciting stuff. If anybody's in Nashville,
Well,
I'm
thank
I'm
you.
playing the listening room. Wait, what did you say?
I said, thank you. You said exciting stuff. It's like exciting to be on here. No,
No, I mean like exciting performances. Like
like shows and stuff, right?
yeah. I'm playing the listening room with some friends next month. So if anybody's in Nashville and you haven't checked out the listening room, or if you have, you should come out on November 12th and see me and my friends.
Is that a writer's round that you're doing?
Yes. Yeah, it'll be.
Okay.
It's like a Saturday morning. So come
Oh,
have like yeah, come start drinking early in your Saturday with us or something.
have a little hair of the dog.
Yeah.
Recover from that Friday night for all of you
Yeah.
bachelorettes that are down there.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great. I've so enjoyed talking to you. You've actually made me think tonight, which quite honestly is something I appreciate. Um,
Good. That
and,
makes me feel good.
so I may have to invite you back on as one of the artists to have this debate that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
So you've also got the website, but that's kind of more just directing people to your socials more than anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, I try. It's actually getting some maintenance right now, so don't try to
Okay.
look at up right now. But yeah, tarrahmusic.com is the website, and I mean, I keep my shows posted there. I'm also on like bands in town, and I'll post stuff on social media too. So
Okay. All right. So by all means, go check Tarrah out. Tomorrow, well, tonight at midnight, 11 o'clock Central, midnight Eastern time, right?
yes,
Is when Used to It comes out.
yes,
So if you've been watching the podcast, congratulations. You got to hear it before it was released, but to hear it again, then you have to wait. And as probably tomorrow morning, I will have that on the b4Nashville playlist as well, because I do have a Spotify playlist as well. But I can't do it right now, unfortunately. We'll have it there, but it's probably better if you just go to Tarrah's page and listen to it. I mean, even if it's on the playlist, you still get credit for the listen, so it doesn't matter. But we'll have it on our playlist, and you can go check that out. Check her out with the other two songs that she has. Great songs, by the way. They're both really good songs.
thank you so much.
I love your writing style. Like I said, I love your voice. It's just so smooth. And it's just one of those that just it's kind of soothing. I mean, when I was driving to work this morning, it was just one of those mornings where it felt like it was Friday.
Oh,
I
and it
don't know why.
wasn't.
And it wasn't, and I was disappointed. So I'm in a down mood, and I listened to the songs, and it was just kind of like, just, I don't know, being just refreshed. I got to work, had a good afternoon, I work in radio during the day, and people that watch the show regularly can't tell it by the way I talk sometimes, but I do work in radio during the day. But people know that. And so I wound up having a pretty good show. Wasn't one of my best because I kept getting interrupted, but I did have a good show. So, but go check her out and check out Used to It. Download it. If you're a Apple user, spend that 99 cents or $1.09, whatever. I mean, come on, it's change from the couch, for crying out loud. If you can't afford it, then I'm not even going to go there. That'll be a whole nother debate I don't want to get into.
That's a whole podcast.
Yeah, that is absolutely a whole podcast. But go check her out. And Tarrah, thank you for coming on. You've been such a joy to talk to. And again, thank you for making me think. I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much. I mean, hey, I'm a songwriter. That's what I'm trying to do, right?
Exactly. And it's been a blast. So everybody, be sure to join us again Monday night. I'll have another artist on. My calendar's not down here, so I can't tell you who it is. So you'll just be surprised. How's that? We'll just go with that. But we will have somebody on Monday night as well. So join us then and check Tarrah out. And then keep checking her website if you're going to be in Nashville so you can find out where she's playing. And then you can go and listen to her, whether it's the listening room or down. Do you do a lot of Broadway shows?
Yeah, I do a good bit of Broadway stuff. So
Okay.
yeah.
So whether it's on Broadway or at the listening room or wherever, go listen to her live. That's always a lot of fun when you hear all these folks live. So until Monday night, y'all have a great night. Tarrah, you have a wonderful night. Thanks for coming on, and we'll be keeping an eye out on your career. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. All right, everybody, have a great night.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow B4Nashville on all social media and listen wherever you get your podcast. Tune in again for another country star of tomorrow on B4Nashville with George Davis. I'm Kevin Casey on behalf of Worldwide Pants. Have a great night.